Welcome to Marketing from X to Z,
the podcast specifically created for small business owners who want practical marketing advice without the hype.
We're your hosts. This is Mike Albuquerque representing Gen X.
And this is Liz Bachmann, our resident Gen Zer.
We're here to share honest insights, real-world experiences,
and tangible strategies to help your small business thrive.
Hey, Mike, do you want to start a podcast?
Let's do it. Welcome back, everyone. We're talking about goal setting today.
Yes, we are.
And this is going to be our first two-parter episode because we broke this out into two parts where the first part is going to be today, and then next week we're going to have part two. Mm-hmm. That's exciting. It's a first one for the pod.
Yeah, we're going to give it a go. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, exactly right. You're like, darn, I wish I had that second part right now.
Yeah, I really wanted to listen for an entire hour straight, so.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody wants to hear that. My mom doesn't want to hear me talk for that long, let alone anyone else.
Oh, gosh. All right, so instead of evaluating that, let's get into goal setting.
Let's get into goal setting. Why do we do this, Liz? Why is goal setting important?
Well, I think goal setting is important because if you want to accomplish anything, you need to think about where you want to go. Yeah. And I'm not actually super tied, when it comes to business goal setting, to reaching the exact thing I went for. For me, it's more about setting a trajectory and making measured steps towards that so that I'm not throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks and kind of just getting lost in shiny object syndrome, which I am definitely prone to doing. So goal setting kind of helps me with that.
Yeah, I know. I think that's a marketing thing. I think we're all a little bit all over the place. We love our tools. Yeah. So that happens to us all, right? I was never big into goal setting. Up until a few years ago when I had a friend who had this process that she followed with goal setting, and it really worked for me. It really clicked for me. Nice. And then I started every year doing that, and today we're gonna go a little bit over that as using that as a basis. Mm-hmm. But kind of where that starts is by taking a look at the current year that's ending. Because I think it's almost like the strategy piece that we talk a lot with marketing, right? You need to do your research. You need to understand where things are before you make the decisions going forward. It's the same thing with goal setting, right? How can you set your goals for the next year if you're not sure what you accomplished this year? Mm-hmm. So we're going to be diving a little bit today into reviewing our year. What are some of the things that we want to look at and that are important for this? And that's going to help us then set us up for episode 2.
Absolutely. Yeah, that makes complete sense. I mean, how are you supposed to figure out where you're going to go if you don't look at where you've been?
Exactly. Yeah. And so, we call this part just reflecting on the current year, right? Reflecting on what are the things that were important, what happened. What I like about this piece is that it starts with a celebration, right? Of what worked in the business this year. And do you have, when you're looking at your current year and you're looking past, do you have certain things that you look for and say, hey, this was really cool, or I'm glad this happened, or...
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think for me, one of the nice things because I haven't actually been through this process that we are talking about, because this episode was your idea. And I'm very, very excited about it. But for me, I think it's more of speaking on the value of that, because it is so easy as a business owner to skip over the wins, especially not the mega wins, but the smaller ones that are actually the things that step by step move the business forward, because we get so busy that it becomes oh, well, that's fine now, so we just move on to the next, and we don't look at look at this thing I accomplished. Yeah. And so for me, I have been actively this year trying to work on being better at that. So I really, really love that this is the first step.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, entrepreneurship is a lonely enterprise, right? Most of the time, I mean, if you're a solopreneur or not, or if you're a leader in a larger group, the struggles you're going through tend to be kind of lonely struggles and a little bit solitary. Yeah. And the celebrations as well, sometimes, right? Your wins become your wins, and they're easy to be ignored because, maybe there are things that you've done that you've been successful that you're taking for granted, and you're just like, no, that's just part of what I hit every year. But they should be celebrated. Yeah. There's accomplishments that should be celebrated, and that's what's the neat part about starting by reflecting on what has been successful for your business this year is it gives you a chance to just look back and say, wow, look at how far I've come in a year. Look at what
Yeah.
I've accomplished. Look at, some of the things that I've done that I didn't think I would be able to do a year ago.
Yeah.
And that's that I think that's something that can just help us get in the right mind state, just and also trust ourselves and build our confidence. Just see that as challenges come up, we can find solutions for them.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, looking at like some of my wins for this year, like now that I've processed it a little bit more,
Hmm.
like looking at some of my wins for this year, I had my highest revenue month I've ever had this year.
Nice. That's great. That's a
Um,
great win.
yeah, which I'm very,
Hmm.
very excited about. And it wasn't like an astronomical, like knock anything, but it was the highest revenue. I'm about to hit 4 years in business. And that was incredible. So
Uh-huh.
I kind of skimmed over it because I was so busy fulfilling everything that I got that I didn't even think about how big of a deal that was,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So like being able to look back and say, okay, so what were the little wins that I did and the little steps that I took
Hmm.
the couple of months before that allowed for that to happen. I don't know if that
Yeah.
tracks, but so that's kind of where my mind is now as we're
Yeah,
talking about
absolutely. And that's exactly the type of thing that we should celebrate when we're looking at the back of at the year in review, right? And as we're recording this right now, and this is going to be posted in December, so not at the end of the month, but early enough that or late enough in the year that you can still look back and have an idea of what it is that what the year has shaped up, even if you still
it.
have a few weeks left,
Yeah, yeah.
right? But I like looking at just I mean there's some things that are metrics that are specific, like revenue or number of clients closed or added,
Mhm,
and all that are like if you're doing tracking, right,
mhm,
and if you have the right tools in place, and it's kind of easy to track them and just keep an eye on as they're going over the year. But then when you compile the data and look back and look at things like, okay, let me look at my profit and loss revenue, let me look
mhm.
at how many new clients I've added this year, what that rate was overall. It gives you like that little victory, right, of saying, hey, this is how it's progressed over the year.
Yeah.
um, and so I think that again, celebrating these moments puts us in the right mind space to figure out what comes next. Now, on the flip side of that, the next step is to look into the challenges. What are the things that your business struggled with this year? And that can mean a variety of things, right? I mean, I think on the flip side of everything that we talked on a positive, that can become a negative, right?
Mhm.
And even if it's been a successful year in terms of revenue or in terms of growth, there's always struggle.
Yeah.
And it's important to acknowledge and realize those. Do you have some examples of different things that you like to keep an eye out
Do I have some
for?
examples? Uh, well, okay, so for me, there's a few areas where I've noticed that there's been consistent little hiccups
Uh-huh.
that I think, especially for like looking at this year and things I want to make sure I'm looking at next year because of it.
Hmm.
So client pipeline,
Yeah.
right? Although I had a really good month and I'm very excited about that, there are 11 other months.
Yeah. What?
So,
Shocking.
yeah. So they have not all worked out that way.
Hmm.
So figuring out like how to establish more of a or like that pipeline and how to track that's going to be a really really big thing for me. So looking back into my year and how did things line out? Um time management.
Yeah.
Time management's going to be a big thing for
Hmm.
me. I did a time audit at the beginning of this year, and I'm going to do a time audit at the end.
That's good.
Just because, like, I need to figure out where I am allocating my time because time is a finite resource, right?
Hmm.
Like, unfortunately, we cannot just make more of it.
Yeah. Can't
Um,
clone yourself and you can't stop time.
not, not yet. And then in the marketing world for marketing services, how much like what percentage of the work I'm doing is stuff I'm doing for free
Hmm.
and like the attached ROI for that.
Yeah.
Because like I want to donate
Hmm.
to organizations that I care about, but also
Hmm.
we want to make sure that that's actually doing something for me. Like it can't be just that. Or at
Yeah.
least if it's a big part of your time allocation, it
Hmm.
can't just be that. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I am. What about you?
So, okay, so some of the things for me that I like to keep an eye out are things like, obviously the financial side of it. Oh, are there months which, like you said, the ups and downs, right? I mean, I'm the same way. You look at my revenue per month, it shoots up and then it dives down. What is leading it to dive down? I remember a few years back, I had my first month, which was a drastically higher month of revenue than others. And I remember when that was happening, I was terrified because I knew I had already forecasted. I knew what was going to happen the next few months. Um, but I didn't identify the causes for that. So looking back at what are the causes that led to that drop,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, you have a month that is an outlier that's just outside of the norm, and you're obviously going to have a drop from that. But like, if the drop goes below your average, then what is the reason driving for that? Is it just as simple as you just invoice too much on month one? If so, that's not that big of an issue. Or is it that, are your time and effort was spent fulfilling work and not looking for more work, and therefore, your long-term growth struggled because of it?
Yeah, we've never done that.
No, of course not.
No.
None of us are guilty of that.
No.
Absolutely not.
Never a million years. Nah.
No. So I like looking at that. I like looking at like just the rate of onboarding new clients, and what that client acquisition pipeline looked like. Did the process from like having the initial meeting with the client all the way to them signing on the contract and becoming a client. What has that looked like on average, right? Has it been one meeting and close right then and there? Have we needed to have multiple meetings? Has it been like, do a lower tier offering before we're comfortable with a long-term offering, or what exactly that was? So,
I don't think I've ever tracked that.
okay.
I don't think I've
Yeah.
tracked the amount of time, but I don't think I've
Uh-huh.
tracked the number of meetings.
Yeah. That's one of the ones that I have in my Google sheet where I
And we
track
talked
things.
about in a previous episode.
Yeah. So everything's in the Google sheet. So yeah. But that's one of the little things that I like tracking, right? Because
Yeah.
it can raise some red flags that might be happening with the business if I'm not doing a good job of like onboarding new clients routinely, right? I have a certain metric that I set for myself in terms of every month I want to be onboarding, a couple new clients, because that means long-term growth, as opposed to getting 10 clients in a month, which is great, but if that's gonna hurt the rest of the year, then do I want to do that or not?
Is it worth it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that's very interesting.
So, all right. So we talked about success. We talk about struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next one is a little more internal. Is did you learn anything about yourself or about your business this year? And sometimes those are more abstract messages. Sometimes about resiliency. Sometimes it's about what leads you to like, just kind of clam up and not want to continue growing the business.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always like going through these experiences that we go as entrepreneurs year after year. It's a chance to just learn more about ourselves, to gain some wisdom on certain challenges that we face, and certain successes, right? Did we go through those months where we onboard 10 new clients thinking, well, this is my new baseline, right? Now every month I'm going to onboard, 10, 20, 30. And do we set expectations that are not realistic? Um, so I like that reflection piece, which again is a little bit more abstract.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I've found in the past when looking at my business was saying, hey, my business can make it through, a rough patch. I
Mm-hmm.
can make it through a year where I did not get a lot of new clients this year because of recurring revenue, for example, or because of, I did a good job in setting up my business runway or cutting costs. There's certain things that provide insights that can be something that you can either positively lean on, or things that, on the negative side as well, that you can plan to how to improve it.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think that I do think so. As if you've listened to our other podcasts, then you have heard me talk a little bit more about like personal introspection and things that I have been working on, because this has been very much a reflective year for me. Like this entire thing has been a reflective year for me,
Hmm.
and learning like, because I'm 4 years into being in business, or just
Yeah.
about to be 4 years in. So I am a baby business.
Hmm.
And a baby business is it's focused on what your business can survive, but it's also turning into the type of person who can actually run a business long term.
Yeah.
Because typically the person who started a business is not the same person that can actually sustain running a business. You have to evolve.
Exactly.
So I think this is a really good point for that as well, is like, depending on the stage of your business that you're in, because you're a more established company than Wildflower is, right? Even though you had your rebrand, like you've been doing this for longer. So those like personal spaces of evolution of like, my business can survive this and I can survive this. Those are both really important things to look at what you're learning.
And I've had one that I did not share is I've had reflective years where I looked at it and said, I don't want to do this, or I don't like there's a service I'm offering that I just don't want to do. Then why am I offering it?
Yeah, yeah, there's been a lot of I'm doing, like, I looked at my business, and previously there has been a lot of I am doing this because I'm afraid of what it looks like not to.
Yeah.
And the amount of like growth that I had when I switched that anyways, like it sucked. Like I spent the first 6 months of last year, I don't think I had a single sale. Which is like, that's not good. That's bad news bears. But making that change made this year a much better, not just better year financially, which it was, but a better year for me as a business owner, building the type of business that I want to actually build, serving clients in a way that I actually want to serve them.
Yeah.
So I think that, like that uncomfortable portion is definitely there, but yeah, and my business can survive 6 months without a sale. That's on low costs.
Yeah. So you learned some things, huh?
Maybe occasionally, but that was not this year though. This year I didn't have that. I don't think I could have done that 2 years in a row. I don't think I had that type of.
All right. So our next step then, we started with success, but then it's diving a little bit deeper into the success. So I like listing three big wins for the year and 3 small wins.
Okay.
And the big wins, obviously, like biggest month of revenue, expanded the team, acquired largest client, like those things that can really lead to, that are really easy to spot and celebrate. Those are important, right? Those are milestones that uh, we should be highlighting. But some other times there are smaller wins.
Yeah.
There's like, hey, I got to work with a person that I really got along with. It's like just we developed a good relationship, or maybe it's I tried something new. I learned a new skill, or I went to an event that I always wanted to go. Like smaller things that may not have the highest business impact, but the reason that I like having those in there is because they're kind of like what feeds our soul. It's what keeps you happy, keeps you going. It's those little wins. You're not going to get the big win every month, but the little wins, you need to pay attention to them because they are what keep us going and be motivated to continue to persevere through the journey of entrepreneurship.
You're such a positive person.
Yeah, right.
That's
why I wrote it down.
So healthy.
Yeah.
No, that does make sense though. When I hired a business coach for this year, like I have an operations consultant, one of the things she has me do is she has me write down a couple of small wins at the beginning of each week.
That's good.
To help us like try to track and keep them tangible, because it is so easy for us to just, especially with the little ones, just nope. It was just there. It was just like, it was not a problem that had to be solved.
Yeah.
Like, I know that sounds really bad, but it was not a problem that had to be solved. So we just moved on to the next thing.
Yeah. That's how my mastermind meeting starts every month. We start by sharing wins. We go around the room, we share our wins.
Nice.
That's well. It's just a positive way to get things going. I think like what I found through even like the brand strategy offering that I have, we start by kind of reflecting in the past and looking, because it gives us a chance to see like what worked, how far we've come, and all that. And when like it's just when you can look back and celebrate those little wins and so small victories that have led to larger ones, it becomes easier to identify like the steps that brought you to where you are.
Makes sense.
All right, so now wrapping it up, let's talk about we talked about so we went over essentially the areas of this first part that we want to make sure that you all, if you're following along, with the guide, which will be on our website somewhere.
Okay.
I'll post it with this episode. Look on our website, xzzpod.com. It'll be there. This goal setting guide. Yes, this surprise for Liz right now that she's just learning. But it'll be there.
It's fine. He's gonna build it, so it's fine. That's on him. He volunteers stuff. He has to do it himself.
It'll be there as a PDF. I've said it, so now it has to happen. But if you're following along, we've gone through the items that would be really helpful for you to start filling out for this first part. Now, there are things that fall outside of the scope, obviously, of what we've talked about here. So there are other items when you're looking at your year in review that might be important for your specific business or based on like your personality or mindset, things that you want to track. Like for me specifically, like I said, I like tracking how many meetings I had before the average lead closed. And then even looking back at some of those and doing like a little bit of a postmortem, just saying, all right, if I had a lead that closed, like I had one this year where it was our initial introductory meeting. It was a referral that came to me, and I sat down um, with that person and with two people, and the deal was closed before I could finish my sandwich. I had like a breakfast sandwich in about like 15 minutes.
I would like more of those, please.
Yes, I know, right? Yeah. So what is it that led to that? Is it, I mean, obviously there's a piece that is like the quality of the referral that came through, the industry that we're in. Maybe they had looked me up before and seen like the offerings and it lined up with what they expected. Either way, a lot of stars align for that to happen in as short amount of time as it did, right? But taking a closer look at some of those scenarios versus the ones where it's like, I've had clients, like we've said before, that came back like a year later and said, okay, we're ready to move on. What took them so long?
I have somebody who literally, I met them in 2023, and I sent them a proposal. We sent a proposal, didn't hear back from them. Like they didn't even like respond to the did not hear back from them. Did not hear back from them. Last week, I get an email. Hey, I know it's been 2 years, but I think it's time to move forward. Do you have any updated rates associated with this proposal? And they got on the call, and I mean, it was very, and basically they had their mind made up before they even spoke to me. They just basically wanted to ask some question type of deal. Like, I don't know what changed. It would be really interesting, but like, I don't know. That was just, I've never had that happen before.
So, I mean, I've not to go on a tangent, but like, I have been that guy. So I remember in our old house, we removed like what do we do? We put an irrigation system in the front of the house and soldered it and all that. And we got quotes from the companies that came out. They came out and I was speaking to them, and I told the salespeople, I was like, I'm not closing on this now. Of course, I'm sure they forgot, but I said I have no idea how much it's going to cost. I need to know how much it is so that I can budget for it. And I asked for the quotes at the beginning of the summer, and I got like 3 different quotes, and I told them all the same thing. And by fall, I had saved up enough and was paying for that project, right? But I was essentially the guy who was like, "Yep, 6 months in, we'll go ahead and start this project. Now we're ready,"
Yeah.
So sometimes it's, I mean, some people like planning.
Yeah.
But you never know, right? And you don't know without asking. You could go in and ask like, "Hey, can you tell me why it took so long?" And maybe they would answer.
Once things are inked and paid, we'll I don't want to bring that skepticism back.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So, yeah. All right, I'll tell you one that I've been tracking closely this year.
What?
How much am I spending in tools and what does my overhead look like? Because I had not taken a look at my overhead in a long time, and I did this year, and I was like, wow, okay, let's cut back on a few things. But that is, so part of that is like, have I, we talked about the shiny object syndrome, right? I had clearly over the past couple of years, I've had that too much, and just think, just what's one more tool? Oh, but this one will save me some time here. This one will save me there, without considering, how is this impacting, kind of the overall overhead? How is this impacting even my process? Do I have too many tools now? How hard is it to onboard people? I need different seats for contractors and all that? So that's one of the things that I'm also taking a look at.
Yeah, no, I have kept a very close eye on that because keeping my overhead has been really, really, really important for me. Like to keep it very, very small. Where I am going to want to look in the future is going to be at the profitability of the offers I have.
Yeah.
Because I know that in order to keep scaling, I'm going to have to change some of like what some of the way that I am creating my offers, which is going to increase overhead. So I am now about to take that step into not so much in the tools space, but in the manpower plus tools space of like what the profitability range is for that. So I think that's going to be something that's going to be really big for me in 2026.
Yeah. And end of year is a great time to review your pricing, and a great time to, if you're doing pricing updates, do it then, announce it. Like one of the, I don't do a lot of price changes in my world, but at least not to ongoing services. But I have a friend who runs an agency. He does like price increases every year, and what he does is he typically reviews his price, makes a decision over if he's going to increase his rates or not. And if he is, he lets people know a good 2 or 3 months ahead of time. And he announces, hey, it's now we're in October. New rates are coming starting in January. Gives them plenty of warning and can move that way. But end of year is a great time to review pricing. Make sure that, your price is still aligned with the industry. It could be that, are there new efficiencies that allow you to bring down? I think I've shared that like my pricing has gone down over the years because I've been able to find some efficiencies and change my model to be more of a lower barrier to entry in order to build a long-term relationship.
Yep.
And so that's the balance of like profitability, right? Because some of the long-term offerings are not as resource intensive as the builds. So reviewing offerings as well is another good one. And let's see, what else do I have here on my list? Another one that I have, so looking at clients, like, are there specific industries where you're just not able to be as efficient or as profitable or not enjoy working with, right? Those are all things that at an end of year you can look at and review and say, do I want to lean in on this or not?
Yeah.
There's some industries that operate by their own rules or that have too much red tape that you got to go around, or where their budgets aren't as high as other industries. So do you want to figure out an offering for that industry, or do you want to, just forego it and say, I'm going to focus on a different industry?
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Or even individual clients too. It's a good time to look back, and if there's anyone who, you haven't enjoyed working with, then if you're, it's time to cut them loose.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very fortunate that I'm not in that case. I love all of my current clients. But I've definitely done that evaluation before. Yeah. But no, that's a lot of different things that are important to look at. I think for me, like I mentioned before, that better sales system, because what I've really come to notice this year, I don't have a sales system. I set meetings with people and send proposals and follow up and kind of cross my fingers and hope for the best. And then I'm like, why? Why am I having revenue numbers go up and down and up? It's like, well, isn't it the consequences of my own actions? So because I was so inconsistent with the things I was doing for lead generation and tracking and things like that, that I think is really going to be like, I know we're going to talk more about this in the next episode, but like reflecting on my year, all of my wins were in spite of that.
Yeah.
Like, if that makes sense.
There you go.
No, I'm not beating myself up. It's more of just like
No, I just thought of an expression in Portuguese and I'm kicking myself because I cannot think of what it would be translated to English. That would just be really funny right now. But well, so you've mentioned next episode. So everyone, this is a wrap for part 1 of goal setting. So come join us in a week where we're going to go specifically into looking into the next year ahead of us, planning for it, creating goals, figuring out what you're going to track and what's going to be different. So see you next time.